Hello, welcome to Unbound Wisdom. Today I want to discuss a topic that is very near and dear to my heart because it is something that I went through for many years. And I see a lot of my friends in the spiritual community, fellow psychics, fellow light workers, kind of grappling with the same thing. And that is melding our 5D experiences with our 3D life. So for myself, I was having all kinds of psychic bleed throughs. I know that now, but at the time I didn't know what was happening. I was just having past life recollections, just as though I was thinking back to my childhood now, but it was actually in the 1800s in the South, which this body has never been to the South before, in the South of the United States. So I realized after a time that I was not going crazy, that I was actually just having some memories from a past life experience. At the time, I had no one that I could talk to about it. I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want to seem crazy. I didn't want to be made fun of. I didn't want to be judged or outcast. And a lot of that comes from, I actually live in a very small town, and my husband and I don't own a business in that small town. So I was very quiet about all these multidimensional experiences that I was having because I didn't want to scare people away from our business, partly. And also because I was truly frightened that I would be seen as crazy. This is a wound that so many starseeds, light workers, mystics, whatever we want, whatever label we want to put on it, a lot of us that are here right now, from higher dimensions, shall we say, carry this wound because of past incarnations, past experiences, having been burned at the stake before, having been ostracized, having been, beheaded for having different beliefs than other people. So it's deeply embedded in the blueprints of our soul. But this is what I wanted to talk about today. This is my opinion, if we are waiting for disclosure to happen, in the sense that we're hoping that there will be some sort of news flash and everyone will realize that ETs are real, that spaceships are real, that inner Earth is real, that we can have so many experiences beyond our wildest imagination, and they're real. If we're waiting for the news to tell us that, we are sorely mistaken, because I don't think we can pin our hats on that happening. Where disclosure is really going to come from is those of us that are having these experiences being open about them in our everyday life. It's basically coming out of the metaphysical closet or the spiritual closet, whatever you want to say. It is basically blending those aspects of ourself with our day-to-day life. Once I started feeling a lot more comfortable, there just became this point where I could not hold back anymore who I am on a soul level, because I realized that I was showing up as only a fraction of myself in my daily life. It's like I was censoring myself constantly with the people that I worked with my even friends in my 3D friend circle, I could say. I was always hiding that part of myself, and there just came this point where I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do it anymore. I just had to completely blow the lid off of the box that I was trying to keep myself in. And what happened was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I was able to call all those pieces of myself that I had fractured over the years by living a lie. I was able to call them all back into wholeness. And the turn that my life has taken is just, it's freed up so much energy for other things. It's just lifted such a weight off my shoulders, and I can't tell you how amazing it is to show up as my authentic self in every part of my life, whether I'm with friends that I can talk about astrology with, whether I'm friends that don't even know what astrology is. It doesn't matter. I get to be me. And if they look at me a little weird, it's fine. It's really fine. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. This idea that we don't want to represent ourselves in an authentic way because we are afraid of being judged or called crazy. Once I had gotten to that point, I realized the amount of energy that was being wasted by living two separate lives. So I did a lot of investigation. I read my own records, actually, to understand the energetic implications of leading a split life like that. Because I could tell for myself that I felt so much more embodied when I was not being a different Leah at work than I was on Zoom with other fellow psychic friends. So it's basically calling back all pieces and versions of ourselves to merge into one. That's what I want to talk about today. And what that will actually do for us in our soul growth and just truly in the energetics of our day-to-day life. What it will do for us to be able to help others moving forward. What it will do for the disclosure of everything that we know to be true. We actually have to start showing up and talking about it in order for disclosure to happen. So, in the records, I wanted to read to you a few of the things that I found. Basically, when we have a wall between our 3D life and our 5D life, we are fracturing our soul essence because it perceives it as a trauma. It's like a self-imposed trauma. Denying aspects of ourself, our true self, is not being witnessed. And it's basically like we are living a lie because we are living inauthentically. It is a heavy burden for our soul to carry. Anytime we are representing ourselves in a manner that isn't in alignment with our truth, it is a drain on our life force, which explains exactly what I was feeling for so many years because I was hiding that part of myself, the truest part of myself. I was hiding it from everybody. And it was an absolute drain on my life force. Our soul can actually see this as a trauma because it is fractured. And then it becomes less connected to all that is. So basically, as we call back all these versions and pieces of ourselves, we are becoming more embodied. And as the traumas are healed, we will lead a day-to-day life that is in alignment with our truth. We begin to incorporate all these fractured aspects of ourselves back into wholeness. We have the ability to become more embodied, less swayed by the outside forces and less reactive, more conscious. We become a match to the higher frequency people, experiences, emotions, circumstances that we wish to draw into our lives. Basically, we will become a match to our highest timeline by no longer living a lie, no longer censoring ourselves, calling all those pieces of ourselves into one and showing up authentically in the world, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the outcome. Because when we feel whole with ourselves, it doesn't really matter what other people think. And I know there were several teachers that I've had over the years that have told me that exact thing. And there was part of me that wanted to believe it, but the other part was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to let go of that. But the truth is, it happened. I let go of it, and they were right. They were so right. The more embodied we are, the less we care about what other people are thinking, the less we care about what society's doing, the less we care about fitting in, being accepted. Even the less we care about the way that others perceive us. And we certainly don't look to others and their perceptions of us to define who we are, because we already know. So the records were actually kind of surprised me a little bit, because they also said, it's a paradox, but others will be drawn to our authenticity even if they can't understand our lifestyle and do not wish themselves to embrace it. So that means even if people aren't interested in ETs, if they're not interested in energy work or astrology or crystals or past lives, any of the amazing metaphysical things that I love and I'm very much fascinated by, they will still be drawn to the authenticity that I embody. And I found that to be really interesting because I think there is something on the level of a human. You can tell when someone is authentically themselves and you're drawn to that. Whether you think it's quirky or crazy or completely out of alignment with what you believe, there's still a part of you that's very drawn to that authenticity that you see in another person. The part about letting go of the fear of what others think, this is probably the hardest thing for many of us to overcome. Because as I mentioned before, we've probably had a lot of past life trauma that we've been burned at the stake or somehow ostracized for our beliefs. And those wounds are stored in our soul blueprint. So there is a lot of healing that needs to happen there. But we're also subject to the societal conditioning and the childhood conditioning that we have experienced our whole life, which is to say you need to fit into a certain box in order to be accepted. You need to walk a straight line and don't stray from that line, or else we're going to laugh at you. So there is a lot of programming that needs to be unraveled. But as we heal the trauma within ourselves and become a little bit more embodied, we are better able to stand in our truth, which means that we can live in integrity, merging our 3D life and our 5D life, and it will become less important what others think. This will happen naturally. It in turn will make it easier for us to stand in our truth, not care what others think, live live authentically, and then bring in a little bit more self-love. And then so on. It just makes it easier and easier and easier. Every little piece of us that we heal, we're able to embody more of our soul essence, and we're able to bring more self-love into us, surrounding us, more self-acceptance. Because if we have self-acceptance, it doesn't really matter what other people are thinking, right? It's an ever-ascending spiral. Acceptance, healing, self-love. Acceptance, healing, self-love. And I can say from experience that every layer that I peel off there, it just gets quicker and quicker and quicker to heal. So it was a big step for me to, do things on social media, to speak out about this and post it for everyone to see. But truthfully, it's been amazingly healing to do so as well. I wouldn't change it for the world. And it's been difficult, absolutely. It's been very difficult. But, even if there are naysayers, I just take it as like a soul lesson for me. I take it as like, what can I learn from this today? And surprisingly, for the most part, everyone, even if they don't quite understand what I'm talking about, everyone's been incredibly supportive. Even people from my work. There was a gentleman from my work. I had worked with him for 10 years, and he came up to me the other day and he wanted to talk about astral travel. And I was blown away because I was like, okay, yeah, awesome. Let's talk about astral travel. I had no idea that he was into these things, that he had had these experiences as well. But because he never talked about them, because he was feeling like I was. He was like, I don't want to talk about this at work. I don't want people to think I'm crazy. But it just goes to show that there are lots and lots and lots of experiences out there that people are either afraid of, hiding from, tucking under the rug, because they are afraid of what others are going to say. And if each of us is able to live authentically, stand in their purpose, speak their truth, we'll be able to help each other with disclosure a lot quicker. And actually, ascension is going to happen a lot quicker as well, because we will be able to let go of all those pieces of judgment in society. That would be ideal. There is a part, though, that I wanted to go over with you guys real quick, and that is it does not mean that we force our views on others. We must have some degree of external consideration. And by external consideration, what I'm talking about is essentially meeting the person at where they are at in regards to their level of consciousness. So we have a responsibility to intuitively feel in to what they are comfortable talking about. intuitively feel into where they're at on their soul evolution, because we don't want to force our views on anybody. Not everyone is ready or willing to hear. Information may not be appropriate for everyone, so we have to be respectful of where they are at. But at the same time, we must be unashamed to be who we are. That is the biggest part of all. If you are having experiences either in the astral or in the physical, with meeting ETs, with meeting extra dimensional beings, with speaking to angels, with having incredible energy healing that you never believed was possible, but you're witnessing it, please don't be ashamed. Please don't be ashamed. Please don't think that you're crazy, because you are not. You are multidimensional. And the more that each of us can speak about it openly, the easier it's going to be for everybody. Yes, the visibility issue I spoke about a little bit already. The us not being ashamed of who we are, and moving beyond societal conditioning in childhood programming. So there are some past life trauma stuff that we might need to work through, but it is very likely that we are here at this particular juncture to clear the trauma because of the quickening in energies and rapid expansion of consciousness that is happening right now on the planet. So if you are a starseed, it is very, very, very likely that you are here at this time for a reason. And a lot of that reason could be because it is an opportunity for quick expansion and making quantum leaps in the evolution of your soul. Because with the energy the way it is, and with the rapid awakening that everyone's going through, it's an opportunity for us to clear a lot of trauma, a lot of past life karma, a lot, break out of a lot of the loops that many of us may have been stuck in for many incarnations over. We're here partly because it's going to be easier to clear all this stuff out, to make it easier for us to continue on our soul's journey. So once we are able to take down the wall between our 3D and 5D life, stand more in our truth, and live authentically, walking our soul's purpose, we will be likely to be connected to our soul family easier, because we will draw them in on an energetic level. We will also have an easier time distinguishing what our soul's mission is in this lifetime. What is our purpose? What are we here to do? And we will also free up creative life force, or prana, or chi, whatever you want to term it, for more important endeavors. And I experienced that 1,000,000% as I was able to step more authentically into my everyday life. And talk about angels. Talk about the incredible quantum healing that I witness every single day. Talk about speaking to extra dimensional beings. Talk about astral traveling. All the amazing, magical, cool things that are happening to me. I now talk about them openly, and it feels amazing. I gotta tell you guys, it really does. So it is my wish that if there are any of you out there that are in the place that I was several years ago, kind of either afraid of what's going on with you, or not afraid of what's going on with you, but afraid of sharing that with other people in your life, I would just encourage you to feel into what it might feel like to not be so worried about that. Think about how free would you feel if you were not censoring yourself, censoring your words, and hiding that part of yourself that is probably the truest part of yourself. How free would that feel? Think about it. From my experience, it's been the best thing that I've ever done. So with that, I am very honored that you chose to be with me today, that you chose to listen. And if I can help you at all, please let me know. I'm always available. Just reach out. Thank you for being here. Until next time.